and welcome back to She Walks, She Paints. Thank you so much for joining me again. If you are new here, my name is Sarah and I will be taking you on a walk somewhere in the beautiful country of Scotland today. I'll be looking for stuff to find and photograph while I'm out and taking those photos back to my studio to try and do a painting in watercolour of something that I found from today's walk. You'll be able to see the full painting process later on in this video. Sorry if I'm squinting a little bit. I did bring my sunglasses with me today, but I left them on the roof of the car, which is always sensible, so it's a little bit bright, but that's nice. It's nice to get some sunshine after the last few walks where we've been completely rained on. We've come to a place called Killiecrankie, which is just a really amazing name. I think it sounds like something out of Harry Potter. We're going to walk along the River Garry and there's a few lovely viewpoints to check out along the way, so I think the leaves are going to look really amazing here. Hopefully we'll get some sunshine and it'll bring all the colours out. Let's head off and see what we can find. It is hard to tell today, but this stunningly peaceful gorge was the backdrop for the dramatic Battle of Killiecrankie in 1689. The previous year, the Catholic King James VII had been forced into exile, with the Protestant William of Orange crowned in his place. Supporters of King James were known as Jacobites, and they took part in several rebellions to try and restore him to the throne, although none was successful. At the Battle of Killiecrankie, the Jacobite forces were significantly outnumbered by government troops, but they still emerged victorious. Nearly half of the government army was either killed, wounded or captured, around 2,000 men. By the end of the battle, many were fleeing for their lives. One such soldier, Donald McBain, found himself with only one means of escape, a desperate leap across the fast-flowing River Garry. He recalled the event in a memoir published in 1728. I went above the pass, where I met with another water very deep. It was about 18 foot over betwixt two rocks. I resolved to jump it, so I laid down my gun and hat and jumped, and lost one of my shoes in the jump. Many of our men were lost in that water. This narrow gorge where the river is forced between the rocks is the location that this daring leap supposedly took place. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. A little bit scary. Those rocks are super slippy today. So I had to be really careful and couldn't take Jack up onto the main one. But it was such a cool view. How beautiful was that? I tell you what, if the story is true about the soldier running and jumping off that rock, I'm really impressed because I could barely walk across that rock. So running and jumping, no, definitely not happening. So if the story is true, he must have been very agile. All right, let's keep going and see what else there is to find. You're gonna go straight down into the river. Yes. Ready? Go! Are you happier now you're in the river? My lucky autumn leaf. That took me far too long. Come on. There is a limit on this bridge of 10 adults at a time. I was lucky enough to get it to myself for a while. The views from here are always beautiful, but especially at this time of year. I love how the green at the bridge contrasts with the many varied shades of red, yellow and orange in the autumn leaves around it. Doing a bungee jump. I wasn't even trying to catch it. Queen Victoria visited this place in 1844, and this obelisk marks the spot that she stood and admired the views. Queen Victoria had a deep love of Scotland, and her time in Perthshire inspired her to buy an estate in the Highlands called Balmoral in 1852. Balmoral is still used by the royal family today. This is the Linn of Tummel, where the slow-moving water of the River Garry and the fast-flowing River Tummel meet in the heart of Perthshire, also known as Big Tree Country. The name Linn of Tummel comes from the Scots Gaelic and means pool of tumbling stream. There you go, that's as far as we're going today. So that was the Linn of Tummel waterfalls. There is a big loop you can do from the Killiecrankie car park, but it's about 12 miles long and we haven't got time to do that today because it's going to get dark soon. I really needed this today. Bit of a last minute decision to go for a walk today. We were going to leave it until later in the week, and it just so happened that the weather was on our side today. It's been raining so much recently. I think you've seen it on a couple of my previous walks, that we have just got rained on loads. Today, when it was a really beautiful morning, we just decided, that's it, we're gonna head out for a walk and make the most of the sunshine while we had it. This is the kind of autumn weather that I wanted to get out in. Had a really lovely walk. I hope you've enjoyed coming along on it too. Now I'm gonna head back, go to my studio and check out my photos to see what I'm gonna paint from this walk. Maybe a really beautiful autumnal leaf might be a very fitting thing to paint. Now, you know I don't like painting leaves, but I do like a challenge, so maybe that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, we'll head back now and I will see you back in the studio. See you there. Excuse me. Wait. Good boy. Gentle. Good boy. Hold on. Hold on. Despite the sunshine, it is slightly cold today, so I'm back in the hat. I did get a few messages last time I was wearing it asking where it was from. This is actually hand knitted for me by Willie's Auntie Sans, very kindly. I did have a hat that was knitted for me by a friend's mum, and I really loved that hat and I wore it for ages, and then I may have left it on a train on a trip to Edinburgh because I basically would forget my head if it wasn't screwed on. I was really upset about losing that hat, and Willie's Auntie Sans does lots of knitting and she offered to knit me a new one in the colours that I wanted. So she knitted me this hat a few years ago and I love it. Auntie Sans has very kindly offered to knit a few more, so if anyone is interested and wants one of my lovely beanie hats with the yellow pom-pom, the blue and yellow, I'm going to put those on my Etsy store this week. It's only Auntie Sans and she's doing it all by hand, so we're just going to put a few up there, so very limited edition. If you have already bought a print or a calendar and that's not been sent out yet, please do send me a message when you buy the beanie hat and I can combine postage and I'll give you that money back on the postage that it costs. Link is in the video description below if you want to buy a hat or a calendar or a print or even all three. Any support is much appreciated and it's really helping me grow my channel and keep doing what I love and sharing that with you. Some of my sketches take a long time to get right, whereas others, like this one, seem to happen really easily. I think one of the reasons is that I'm painting this leaf very close to its actual size, so I'm not having to work out measurements to make it fit. sketching in the main veins of the leaf so that I have lines to follow when painting. The veins are darker than the rest of the leaf, so it won't matter if I paint over the pencil marks. I'm not very confident at painting leaves, which is why I wanted to set myself this challenge. It was a bit daunting at first to try and figure out how to paint it, but I managed by breaking it down into smaller sections and working on them bit by bit. It is so satisfying to make the colours blend into one another as the leaf changes from green to yellow, orange, red, and then almost purple at the edges. This is one of the most autumnal leaves I've ever found, with the full spectrum of colours across it. From the shape and serrated edges, I think it is a sycamore leaf, which is in the same family as the maple. Normally sycamore leaves are less colourful than this one, so I wonder if it might be an ornamental variation. Lots of trees in Perthshire were planted by the old estate owners to make the views as picturesque as possible. I'm not trying to get every single vein in the exact right place compared to the photograph, but I do try and make sure I get the shapes and shading of the segments looking realistic. I'm trying to capture the texture of the leaf with shading, dark for the veins and very light patches where the segments are raised up and catching the light. This painting took quite a while to complete, as I had to focus on getting all the tiny segments done. The whole painting took around 14 hours to finish. Now that I've got the main body of the leaf coloured, I'm going to go back over and add in extra shading. This will make the painting pop off the page a bit more. The last touches are to define the main veins of the leaf and make them stand out, as they do in real life. All my paintings are available as prints on my Etsy store. Purchasing a print means that you're helping to support my channel and genuinely helps me keep doing what I love and sharing that with you. You can also support me by liking, commenting or subscribing, following me on Instagram, or by donating the cost of a coffee over on Ko-fi. Links to all my pages are in the video description below. Sun's out. We're going to walk along the River Erne. No, River Garry. Ah, that took longer than I expected. Oh, Jack Spaniels. I spy a man in camouflage. I'm sure my mother always warned me about men who lurked in bushes wearing camouflage, filming you. There they are.
Whose coos are those?
Terrible. Look at this scruff monkey. Someone needs a haircut, Jack. That's what he thinks about that.